another man, putty in your hands, just like I am. Oh goddamn.
My name's Zoubi Arros. I'm 29 and I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, and for my day job I'm a gardener. I'm currently based in Toronto, but I was born on Hornby Island in BC, small place. Growing up on Hornby Island was a real treat. Just being able to roam the woods on my own, I think really shaped who I am, and learning about being meditative and peaceful. My first song, I would have been about 13, I think. It was before I'd ever been in love or anything, so I was writing about other people's relationships and how I imagine things to go. So not a great song. Back then, I mean, I was writing about how I assumed love would be, but I hadn't experienced that yet, so it was just really silly.
Who's coming up to my door, my door? Who's coming up to my door? Who's coming up to my door? I adore ya. Oh, Sequoia.
I first got into music through guitar, actually. I played acoustic guitar on the beach one day and someone was like, "Oh, you're pretty good," and I was like, "Cool." And then I had an experience my first time with an electric guitar and someone left me alone with it, and I just was so excited about it, and right away I had some money saved up to buy a horse, and instead I was like, I'm buying a guitar. I would describe my music as sort of soulful folk music with a lighthearted feel to it, and at the same time a lot of the songs kind of go really deep into deep emotional spaces. So there's from one song to the next is either super happy and light, or kind of deep and dark. My greatest fear is stagnancy. Stagnancy out of fear of change, I guess, or facing personal challenges. So maybe the fear is of limiting myself. Yeah. That's my fear. If I could only change one thing about the music industry, I might take out the money aspect. I think that gets in the way of things a bit. It kind of pollutes the waters, and I just want to swim.
Sitting here on the floor.
The best piece of advice I've received, what's coming to mind now, is just to believe in yourself and believe that you have worth and something worth sharing. I went to a women in music producers panel, and they talked about just sharing your stuff with the world, and even when you feel it's not really ready, or you're scared that people aren't gonna like it, to just put it out there so that you can start on something new. And I think that's some of the best advice I've had, is just to share. The advice I would give to a young girl watching this would be to just follow your heart and do it for fun. Do it because you love doing it, and Not worry about trying to learn everything and become an expert in everything, but instead to just like find out what part of it you really enjoy and do whatever you can to feed your inspiration and feed that motivation, just to stick with it. Where do I want to be in 10 years? I think at this point in my life, I'm sort of craving time in the woods. So I picture it like I've got like a studio set up in like a soundproof shed shack, or I guess it'd be more like a cabin. And then, vaulted ceilings. And there is like my sanctuary, and I like record things. And have music and film would be great. Obviously, I'd be like a pro with making beats, and I'd have a cello and know how to play that. 10 years, gosh, oh my gosh, I'd be like 39. Wow. Okay, yeah, and I think I would still be performing and climbing trees. Maybe have like a garden, still doing what I'm doing now, but just like more of it, and with prettier surroundings. I mean, Toronto is beautiful in some respects, but my favorite part about music and songwriting is, gosh, well, I don't know if I could pick just one thing. I get really excited when I can feel like the inspiration coming, and when I just like need to like run and grab a piece of paper and like write down things, or like record a voice note, and when I have like a day off and can just like spend the whole day writing, that's like so exciting to me. But then also like I love recording and fiddling with the details and like lining up all the like sound files and that nitpicky stuff. And then also like performing is so fun because it's kind of the opposite to that in some ways, where it's like you can't go and edit things. You just like have to do your best. You show up with whatever you have, and if you forgot a patch chord or something, then you just like figure it out, and it's very like improvised and like can be like really chaotic in like an exciting way. And there's so much room for connection with an audience that is like, it fills my soul in a beautiful way. I'd say my songwriting process varies quite a bit. Generally, the lyrics come first for me, but I'll write tons and tons of lyrics, and then there'll be no songs out of them. And then when it actually like develops into a song is usually when I like come up with a new guitar riff, or learn like a new chord, and I just play it cyclically until the words just kind of fall out. And oftentimes they'll come out in kind of like a mumble singing, where it's not actually words but just like vowels and consonants sort of like scattered throughout the chords in a way that flows well. And then sometimes what will happen is I'll be playing the guitar. Often it works best if it's something kind of complicated, where like it takes most of my mind, and then it allows my subconscious mind to like open up and just like mumble sounds, and then I can record that and then go back in, listen to it, and there are words that I can fit into those words somehow, into the vowels and consonants. Kind of fun. Takes away like the pressure, like that negative self-talk demon who's like, that word is not fancy enough, or like that doesn't rhyme. It's just like, well, these are the sounds that fit, so it doesn't matter too much. If I wasn't doing music, well, I mean, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be a visual artist. So I did a lot of painting. So that's probably what I'd be doing. Probably something visual. I would love to do film, graphic design, audio visual. Last year, just like moving to Toronto was a big one for me in terms of change, because I really like left my comforts and my home and all my friends and just like came here and then studied music, which I'd been like avoiding doing because I was scared like getting into what I love and music, because I was scared, I guess, of like it not being possible or like me not being good enough. So in 2017, I guess, I moved here, and for me that really signified just like diving in and following my heart. Next, for me, I'm moving to Montreal, which is like, it's kind of terrifying for me because it's like the last point on my perceived life journey. So I have like, since I was little, I had it in my mind that I needed to live in Montreal. And so I tried to move there and was always too scared. And now finally in September, I'm moving there and I'm like, what if I don't like it? Or like, I don't know, it's gonna be lovely, I think. In Montreal, I'm most excited about the culture and the sort of European influence and the vibrancy and how weird the people are. I'm really stoked for that, and just collaborating with other musicians, hopefully like getting more into like how to be like a producer and also performing with electronics, and being like, maybe have like a duo or something where we like, you know, we make like drum beats and like looper pedals and all sorts of fun wacky stuff. Yeah, Zoubi and the Sea is, at first I thought it was just the band in Victoria, but I realized that I can't let go of the words the sea, and it could represent the people in the band, but also it could represent like the crowd. So it could be anything. I'll also like, the sea could be like the music. So yeah, it'll keep that name, although only when there's a band, because otherwise it's just Zoubi. So I've got actually 2 EPs on the go. I've got one that's all recorded and we're just waiting to release it, and then the other one we're in the studio right now recording with my friends at Human Tourist Records, and yeah, we're hoping to get that done before I leave. Yeah, very excited for that. I first knew that I wanted to do music when I learned to play guitar, and then started writing lyrics and assuming that someone else would sing my lyrics. And then my dad was like, no, if you're writing, you have to sing them. So I was like, you're right, like that's what Avril Lavigne did. So now I gotta do the same thing. And then I really wanted to just like dive in fully and get like behind the scenes and do production. And I was living in Victoria, BC with my parents, and I guess I was 17. Oh yeah, I was 17, because I just graduated high school and I wasn't ready to move to Vancouver where all the schools were, and at the same time I felt daunted by it because I hadn't really ever seen women in any kind of audio engineering producer role, and I thought like, there's no way I'm gonna make a living doing this. Like, so I didn't go to school, and I went to school for hairdressing and then like web design and graphic design. And then it wasn't until 10 years later that I finally decided that no, I still want to do this, and so I better just like give it my best. I've just been hanging out with other people who feel the same way, that they just gotta follow their heart no matter their gender. I feel like when you follow your heart, it's kind of the harder road in the beginning, but it works out to be like the most wholesome journey, because even though there are challenges on the way, it's like, it's so fulfilling to be like facing those challenges and constantly learning. And it's a very vulnerable, scary place to follow your heart and follow your dreams, but it's, you know, it's just the best. It's the best life. It's really living. So that's all I gotta say.